Sportsnet Lakers brought to you by your Toyota dealers. We make it easy. Chris McGee, Mike Bresnahan, James Worthy. We got Allie and Trudell down at the arena. Lakers with another huge win to end the month of March, their 50th of the season, 100th for head coach J.J. Redick. They are 15-2 in the month of March. They've won 13 of their last 14 games. Just an absolute dominant game for the Lakers. They got huge performances from a number of players, 6 guys in double figures. We're going to get to Luka's third straight 40-point game in a moment. LeBron becomes the winningest player of all time in the history of the league. But, James, this game was won for me in that second and third quarters. The Lakers scoring 78 points in those 2 quarters and absolutely blowing out the Cavs.
And that's what's impressed me the most over a period of time as we've watched the Lakers over the last several months, December, January. You know, they would build these deficits, and then they would have to spend a lot of energy trying to, you know, come from behind. The new Laker mentality is you start from the beginning. And, you know, have a defensive presence. And then if you run into a tight game, you can pour it on as they did in the second quarter. I think they're looking at the end of the second quarters and the third quarters to really, you know, break games open. And I think they're doing a really good job of being consistent at that. But I thought, you know, again, Ayton in the paint. You know, Jake LaRavia, he didn't miss a shot. 5 of 5 from the field, 2 of 2 from 3. Had, I think, 7 rebounds. So they're getting good support from their role players. And then when Rui has to come off the bench, 14 points, then, of course, you got the 2, you know, the trio that always do as they do. You can talk about them. But I thought it was an overall great process of the mind to get ready to play an important game against Cleveland.
James Geet, I've been around this franchise 22 years in one capacity or another. I cannot remember a March where the Lakers played this well, and they needed it too. You know, just a few weeks ago, we were like, gosh, are they going to finish 6th? Are they going to drop into 7th maybe in that dreaded play-in tournament? And then they come up with a 15-2 record, as you mentioned, Geet, in the month of March. Incredible. And they're beating good people, too. You know, throw Cleveland on the stack next to 2 wins against Houston. They beat the Knicks. They beat Minnesota. They beat Denver. I mean, this was an amazing 31 days for this franchise. It could have really tripped them up. I mean, it really was, in my mind, a make-or-break month, and they made it. I mean, they're set up really nicely for 3rd in the West, and I'm really eager to see how they play Thursday at OKC. Obviously, the clear class of the West. Maybe San Antonio's not too far behind them, but I can't wait to see how that looks in OKC in 48 hours.
Thank you for your patience. We are going to get to Luka Doncic right now. His 7th 40-point game in his last 13. His 13th consecutive game with 30 or more as he continues to climb that ladder. The 3rd youngest player ever to 15K, 15,000 points, and the 2nd most points scored in the month of March ever. You see the fastest to 15K right there. He's the 6th to ever do it that quickly, the 3rd youngest. And I got to say, guys, 600 points in the month of March. Absolutely incredible performance. And for all of those out there in the media who want to talk about defense and all that stuff, Luka's playing a complete game or you're not watching. The 3 ball is falling. Another couple of steals tonight, James. Absolutely magnificent.
Really impressed with his defense after all that offense. And you look at that list of players that he just joined, and they all have something unique about them. Wilt Chamberlain, obviously, 7-footer. The Big Dipper, Kareem, the Sky Hook, Elgin Baylor, you know, he did everything. Michael Jordan, and then Luka joins that list of dominant players. And the way he does it is just as unique as the guys on that list. He has a style of his own. You can't speed him up. He doesn't look like he's really working hard to get plus 40 points 3 times in a row. It just happens. Before you know it, he's got a shot, he's open, he's at the foul line. But there you go, most points scored in the month of March in a single season, Geeter.
In big game. If he would have been able to play, allowed to play against the Wizards, he probably would have gone for 80. He would have been ahead of Michael Jordan. And by the way, can I just interject and say he had 12 assists. He was 10 for 10 from the free throw line and 5 rebounds.
Crazy.
And no turnovers. How about that?
Wow.
That's a good ratio right there. 12 to 0. That's not nothing. I mean, look, only 10 guys ever have scored that many points in a month, and it's just incredible to watch what he's doing right now. And I think the three ball is really, really his champion right now. He didn't have confidence in it earlier in the season. It was frustrating him. You know, he was kind of like, well, I'm just going to keep shooting him. You know, the media was kind of poking around it a little bit, writing about it, asking him about it. The team wasn't playing great. I mean, they were playing good, but not, you know, not the level they are now. And James, once he starts getting that shot going, he finished the month over 40% from deep. I mean, that's just an incredible weapon to have, in addition to setting your teammates up. And Geet, the fun factor is here.
Yes.
He's having a great time. He just alluded to it in his walk-off interview with Mike Trudell. We're really enjoying playing for each other right now. And it shows on the court and in the standings, too.
Big Game, I know you're going to like to talk about this next guy because he was a focus for you, for all of us in the pregame show, and that's DeAndre Ayton. He deserves some flowers. Going up against Mobley, who went for 37 and 14. Jared Allen returning. You're talking about two great bigs over in the East. And DeAndre Ayton came out with a purpose, great energy. He had 18 points on 8 of 13. He had 9 rebounds, 6 of them offensive.
Yeah.
5 of those in the first half.
That was impressive. The 6 offensive rebounds. But Gita, I think ever since he's had a meeting with himself, you know, a few weeks back, and really, you know, tried to define what it is he has to do every night. You know, he's been there for us on occasion. He's had some great, you know, some great results. But I think the last month or so, he's really conjured up something that we haven't seen, and that's being present every night for his team, being, you know, physical. I thought the game against Denver, I was really impressed how he had one block shot against Jokic and was really playing. And so they're starting to feed him too. I think the more you feed him, the more reliable he gets. But blocking shots, offensive rebounds, being you know, a threat in the paint, collapsing the defense. They're going to need him and Jackson Hayes if they're going anywhere.
James, who is he going up against tonight? You know, you've got Mobley, former Defensive Player of the Year. You've got Jared Allen, a very good player in his own right. And Ayton was better than both those guys tonight. You know, I know Allen scored well and shot well, only 4 rebounds, though.
Yep.
And Mobley, 6 points, a complete non-factor in this game tonight.
Jared Allen didn't score in the second half.
There you go.
Yeah,
I mean, he was incredible in the first half, of course. And so there's been these games where Ayton does this. There was a game quite a few months ago, back in November, where he was better than Wembanyama. Wembanyama fouled out in that one. And yet there's games like you were alluding to, James, where you've got him going up against Jokic in overtime of that game. He outplayed Jokic in that OT, really shoved him off balance on a couple of forays into the paint, blocked that one shot that you were just alluding to. So you can see this from Ayton, where he can play against the best in the game. What a great month for him as well. And Jackson Hayes, too. He didn't do much tonight because Ayton was so spectacular.
Quick shout out to Jake LaRavia, who got the start tonight with no Marcus Smart. He was perfect from the field, as James mentioned. Nice. 2 for 2 from 3. Kind of broke out of that slump. 5 for 5. 14 points and a team high plus 23. And by the way, he has stayed the course the entire time, plays hard. He's been playing great defense. That's why he's in this rotation.
Donovan didn't get out to a good start. That wasn't by accident. I think the pressure, the physicality, the size that he's bringing to that position, he's honing in on being a defensive player for JJ. You can tell JJ's probably been talking to him, or Nate McMillan, say, hey, lockdown defender, everything else will come. He has size, he has quickness, he's not afraid to stick his nose in there. I think he slowed Donovan down earlier, didn't give him anything easy, and that made it tough for him the entire night.
Yeah, Donovan Mitchell, 1 for 6 in the first half, 2 points. And we talk about the Lakers defense a lot. This entire season, we've talked about them a lot. The first 3 or 4 months, it was like, ooh, what's wrong with this defense? You know, they're bottom 10 in defensive rating. And now, James, when we do talk about the defense, it is in a very positive light, and deservedly so. I think Luka has really stepped up his defensive effort. Ayton, starting with that Denver game a few weeks ago, you know, it seemed like he was a little impatient with his role. And then that game happens, it's like, okay, we see you, DeAndre. And I feel like LeBron's playing great defense now. And this thing is really clicking. When you hold Mitchell and Mobley to 16 combined points, you're really doing something special. Those are 2 really gifted players right there.
Lakers have now won 4 in a row. They've won 13 and 14, 15 and 2 in March, and they picked up their 50th win. And this young coach, J.J. Redick, the first to do it since Phil Jackson in back-to-back seasons, 50 wins. Time to hear from the coach. JJ Redick, brought to you by your Toyota dealers.
Kind of repeat what I asked you at halftime, but